Hi, this is Jeannie, and my topic for today is the Nichiren Buddhist concept of the 9 levels of consciousnesses. So I'm going to be discussing the Nichiren Buddhist perspective of the subconscious mind and of the higher level of the mind. We call it Buddha nature, but it's actually like some people will call it the higher levels of mind. And I'll be discussing the importance of each. So in Nichiren Buddhism, consciousness means perception, how we perceive things, how we see things. And the lower 6 levels are, the first 5 is actually our sense of sight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch. So it's actually our 5 senses. And the 6th level of consciousness is the integration of all of the 5 senses. It's like perceiving what, or making sense of what the 5 senses are about. So let's say the 6th level of consciousness will allow a person to be conscious of what they are seeing or what they are hearing. Example, like, watching the news. So the 6th level of consciousness would be allowing the person to consciously hear what the TV is, the noise on the TV. So it integrates all of the sights, the sounds, the smells, and the taste. But 6th level of consciousness is just the integration of the 5 senses, but it doesn't really form an opinion. It is the 7th level of consciousness, what we call the ego, and it creates that's where the judgment comes from. So the ego, we actually consider it in Nichiren Buddhism as our lesser self. It is something that exists only temporarily, like it's like our personality, our likes and dislikes, our judgment and stuff like that. And that in itself is very fluid as well, because over the years our personality changes, from our personality as children up to today. It's really totally different. So it just shows you that even the ego is also temporary. But it's the ego that forms an opinion on whether something that they smell is something that they like or dislike, and it forms a judgment like, oh, this one tastes better. So that's what the 7th consciousness is about. And now the 8th consciousness is what we would call the subconscious mind. In Sanskrit, they call it the Alaya consciousness. It means residence, repository, or accumulation. So what it means is that everything that we have experienced from birth up to the point of death, it gets recorded in that 8th level of mind, the subconscious mind. And science actually has proven that the subconscious mind is really powerful. And actually, like, if you know about hypnosis, they can actually like program people, to lose weight. Driving, it is a conscious at first, but then driving becomes automatic and it becomes subconscious. I'm sure like a lot of seasoned drivers here, they will like realize like, oh my god, how did I get from point A to B? I didn't have to think about it, it was just automatic. So that's how the subconscious mind works. And I'll discuss more about the subconscious mind because it's very, very important as well in the practice of Nichiren Buddhism. So the 9th consciousness is the higher level of mind. We call it Buddha consciousness, and it's actually, some would call it the higher self, and it's actually, I think scientists, there was an author, and I discussed it in a previous episode, discussing the different brain waves. So you actually have a different brainwave when you're in a higher level of consciousness, and it's like this level of mind sees everything, perceives everything, and actually sees the bigger picture. And we have access to that because for Nichiren Buddhists, the ninth consciousness is actually what we call the Buddha consciousness, and it's where it sees all things, knows all things, and it has a 360-degree view of how the world works. And it means, in Sanskrit, the ninth consciousness is called the Amala consciousness. It means pure or stainless. Because they say that actually, in order for us to be able to solve our problems, we have to see it from a different perspective. And Nichiren Buddhists, we tap into this level of mind by chanting Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. So we tap into our Buddha consciousness, our higher level of mind, where we are not swayed by outside circumstances, and we see everything, and we see the patterns in our life. But that is provided that our practice is consistent, and we chant Nam-myoho Renge Kyo consistently, and there's like it also is a cumulative practice as well. You don't just chant Nam-myoho Renge Kyo once and then you're enlightened. So I would like to discuss, how does this relate to the subconscious mind, and how does it relate to karma? So actually, the eighth level of consciousness is very important, because it, according to Nichiren Buddhists and even other Buddhist traditions and other religious traditions as well, the eighth consciousness is the karma storehouse. What it means is that from time that, if you believe in rebirth, that's what other religious beliefs believe in. They believe in rebirth, like this is not the only lifetime that we have. We've had other lifetimes, and that gets deposited in the eighth level of mind, the Alaya consciousness, the subconscious storehouse, the storehouse of all your programming and stuff, and all of your ancestors' programming. And let's just say you don't believe in that. Let's say you just believe in this lifetime. And let's say the subconscious mind is the storehouse of everything you've experienced from the moment you were born, or even before that when you were in the womb, until today, currently. So it gets stored in our mind somehow. And it's the subconscious mind, according to a psychologist and other writers that I've read, they say, and it varies from writer to writer or psychologist to psychologist, they say our mind gets programmed until the age of 3, and after that it's sort of fixed, and it's kind of hard to reprogram our mind, our subconscious mind. So let's just say, and some are even saying that maybe up to 7 years old you can get programmed until the age of 7, and then it becomes fixed, and it's hard to change after that. So you can really understand now the importance of changing the programming, because let's say from the age of from birth to 3 years old, your family programmed you about beliefs about relationships, beliefs about your health, beliefs about work and money, but you were just accepting it, and it just got deposited in your mind, and there was like no way around it. Like it's like you're trapped with those beliefs, and if they were good beliefs, that's good, but what if they were bad beliefs? And I'm sure a lot of us grew up in households that, no matter how perfect their childhood is, there's always some negative programming that was added in there. So where is, how can we choose something different if it was already programmed since birth, or sometimes even since birth, in the womb? So that's why Nichiren Buddhists believe that the only way to change the subconscious programming is to get into a higher level of mind, which is to get into the ninth consciousness, where you could see things clearly from a different perspective, and you can start to change that negative programming. And why is it important to change our programming? Let's say you don't believe in, you don't believe in like the connection that you have with your past lives or your ancestors or something like that. Let's say you just believe in this current lifetime. Let's just say that during childhood you were abused and you grew up being a hurt individual, and there was just no way around it, and subconsciously you perpetuate that negative karma and start abusing other people as well. And you've seen this, people that are domestic abusers were most probably abused as children as well. So like the karma perpetuates and or the pattern just keeps on going, and it just it through no fault of your own really, because you just grew up with that belief that it's okay to hurt people or it's okay to be victimized, whatever negative programming that you have. So chanting Nam-myoho Renge Kyo actually changes your brain waves. And I read that there was a study, there was this practitioner that he studied the brain waves, and you actually go into a slower brainwave. We call it the Theta brainwave, which is associated with healing, and it's a different brainwave where you just see things differently. You see the patterns, and when you chant Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, you go into that Theta brainwave, that like different level of mind where you can shift your perception and even change your programming. Let's say you really, with your determination, and I've seen this happen. I actually met a family, and their parent, one of their parents was actually abusing the spouse, and then but this person started chanting, and then that person literally changed the pattern of that family. That person's behavior changed, and that person actually became a better person, and it all starts with having now a tool, like how can I choose something different? I know that I was programmed as a child to do this and do that, but how can I make a choice right now that would make me happier? And that's why we chant Nam-myoho Renge Kyo in order to change that pattern. And in my case as well, I'm changing a lot of family karma and family patterns as well. Especially in terms of sickness as well. I mean, you always hear it like, people saying like, oh, my family, we come from a family of like diabetics, or we come from a family of, we have like high blood pressure, or we come from a family of like, we always have heart problems and stuff. When you chant Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, you realize like, you know what? And even if you don't chant Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, you can make that conscious choice. But again, it's kind of hard because you're working against your subconscious mind, which is just automatic. It just runs unless you are really, really aware. And let's say you chant Nam-myoho Renge Kyo and you make that determination. I really want to change my family's health karma. And then through chanting Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, you realize like, oh, I should do this. Maybe visit a doctor often, hire a dietitian, or eat these certain types of food, or the wisdom will just come to you what you need to do in order to change that karmic pattern. But it starts also with your choice. It starts with your free will, and just making the choice that, hey, I want to change this karma, I want to change this pattern, this family pattern that I have of like sickness. And also it can also work with relationships as well. Let's say you come from a family, a broken home, your parents are let's say divorced or separated, or your parents didn't have a good relationship. But you can make that determination, like, I don't have to repeat the programs that were added, or I don't have to make that choice, or of following in my parents' footsteps, or I want to change that pattern in my family of having bad relationships, and I'm determined to change it right now. And I'm gonna be, even if whatever it takes, I'm gonna be the first person in my family with a happy and loving relationship. So with that determination, you can chant as well to change that family karma. Because we've heard stories, when your parents get divorced, so the children too, they have they end up separating from their spouses, or they end up divorced themselves, or let's say their dad or their mom was unfaithful, and what happens is that they too become unfaithful, or they become victims of someone, a spouse or a partner that's unfaithful to them, because these are just it's like programming that was added when we were little kids, and we really literally did not have a choice that what programs or patterns were added, what beliefs were added when we were younger, because our minds are like sponges when we're younger, So by chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, you start to see the patterns in your life, and you start to see, hey, why can't I change that family pattern, that family karma? Why can't I change it? I might as well change it, And the thing about this practice, it's very profound, because Nichiren Buddhists believe that we are connected, to the planet. We are connected to our family. We're connected to the people around us. Once we start changing and shifting and just changing how we perceive things, we also in a way influence our environment as well. So in the example of the family that was victimized by this parent that was a domestic abuser, the entire family also changed, and because that person changed, that influenced also other people and made them realize, like, oh, if that person can change from a domestic abuse or someone that was very abusive, physically abusive, verbally abusive, if that person can change, then I can change too. So there's also an effect. We can have an effect on not just on our families, but on people around us. We can actually inspire people to change as well, because we realize that, oh, okay, it's not a fixed thing. It's not a fixed karma. It's not a fixed program. It's not a fixed pattern. I can actually choose something different, And that's what I've been doing for 13 years of chanting Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. I'm just changing the patterns of my family karma, my own patterns as well. Just changing it and shifting it. And again, it is cumulative, and it doesn't happen instantly. So if you are interested in a practice that will instantly get you, you will get results from this practice, but the more you stay with it, the more you stick with it, you will see better and better results. Your life will actually change and grow for the better. But if you want instant change or something, this might not be the practice for you, because this is not really a slow process, but it's a gradual process. It's like the growth of a tree, it's imperceptible at first, but then before you know it, it's like the tree has grown. It really depends again on the individual as well, because there are certain patterns that are so easy to fix, and there's also patterns that are really deeply rooted, and there's so many layers that need to be uncovered and to be changed. But definitely it can be changed through chanting Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. And that's why I continue to chant, really, because I just want to be that person in my family that changes things, and I want to start my own human revolution, just pave the way for the next generation as well. And we're changing. The thing about this practice is you're changing in a positive direction, provided, of course, you're practicing consistently and you really have that determination to change that programming. And I'm definitely not saying that Nam-myoho Renge Kyo is the only way that you can change your patterns. There's other like I call it modalities or tools that can change your mind, and like, you can do subconscious programming and stuff like that. But this is the only one that has been around for Nichiren Buddhism has been around for 700 years, and it is free as well, and you use the power of your own voice. With other modalities, I think you can get therapy perhaps, or like some are even doing biofeedback. I don't know. There's other tools that you can disrupt the pattern and change it. But the way I see it with chanting Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, it's just a natural process and it's free. It's like just chant Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. You don't have to pay. You definitely have to study the teaching so you will appreciate it more and you will continue to chant. And that's really what I'm just doing right now, just spreading the word, because this might not be the practice for you, or this might be the practice that literally changes your life. And I'm just putting the word out there, and that this is what Nichiren Buddhism is about. We chant so that we can gain a higher level of consciousness, the ninth consciousness, the Buddha consciousness, so we can look at the patterns of our family, of our life, and of this lifetime, because now this lifetime is the only lifetime, that really matters, because you're here right now. And if this is because some people, like, they always, I heard it mentioned, like, oh, I'm just gonna wait for the next lifetime. I'm like, really? So life is precious, and focus on changing your life right now. Who cares if you believe in past lives or future lives? For me, I'm pragmatic. I'm like, this is the life that matters. I'm gonna make this lifetime count, and I'm gonna make as many changes as I can until the last moment of my life, and I'm gonna make it positive changes and stuff like that. So I hope you understand the topic of the 9 levels of consciousnesses and how it pertains to the subconscious mind and higher levels of mind, the higher consciousness, and how it relates to changing your life. And thank you very much, and I really appreciate that you're watching this. Thank you.